Hello, Richard.
Hi,
Can you present yourself to our community?
I'd love to. My name is Richard HArtbridge. I'm a Chief Technology Officer for a company called 2 Lead out of Canada, and we do remote services around the world around technology, specifically Office 365, Azure, and SharePoint. And yeah, here I'm one of the speakers at Ignite. It's been a wonderful conference, and
Yep.
I've done a ton of sessions on all of those
Wow.
topics from Azure to Office 365 and SharePoint.
So you do a lot of community activity, like being a speaker and things like
I
that?
do. I love the community. So I guess there's two things I'd call out for the community. If you've never been to a user group or the smaller communities in your city, and every city has them, and
Yep.
if they don't, there's virtual ones that you can join. It's a great opportunity because my favorite thing about the user groups and these communities is in person you can have these really interesting dialogues
Yep.
where you want to find people that have different perspectives than you do, right? So instead of there's value in seeing and learning about the next thing or what this organization did, but I think a lot of it for me is I have some ideas and
Sharing
consumption, so I'm
point of view.
so my assumption is this, and then you get into a debate, and it's it's a very professional and kind debate, but you learn so much from somebody else saying, well, I don't know if that's true for us, and you're like, oh really, and then you get some exposure. So that part of community, and the other big part of community is obviously it's so hard to keep up with everything nowadays. Yammer and other things can kind of help, but when you look at the tech communities for Microsoft, and then you look at the roadmaps, it's so hard to keep up. So I also use the community as almost a filter. The people I love and cherish that are super smart, smarter than me, that know a bunch, I try my best to kind of learn from them, and then that saves me time from having to go find a bunch of resources and stuff. So
Yeah, that's cool. So what are the best topic from you will keep in mind after this Ignite?
So I mean, I think we're seeing a maturity in the industry now. So now we have a lot more discussions around adoption and how to best get more out of the technology. There's been a lot of feature announcements, and so I think a lot of what we need to do isn't just understand what's new and hey, most of it's positive and it's going to make things better, but understand what are those gaps. So in the sessions, there's only so much time, and we don't have time to necessarily talk about all these specific feature gaps. And I think not getting too wrapped up in the marketing and getting too excited and understanding, especially for those of us in the technology sphere, like, hey, the reality is this is directionally where things are going, but there's these very specific gaps we have to deal with. I think that's really important. I think the other thing is Ignite is this wonderful opportunity where so much information gets combined under sort of the Ignite brand, and so it's a great opportunity if you haven't really been keeping up to kind of take a step back and do a concerted effort to say, okay, what's the landscape look like now? And then honestly, if you didn't do anything until the next Ignite, you might be okay, right? Like there's so much change that maybe once a year you make that big investment and commitment. So or you use something like I know. The community groups and stuff where we move and we do sort of hero tours like AOS and others. That's an awesome opportunity as well to learn, not just from the speakers who are going to be a phenomenal set of speakers, but also from individuals at the events for sure.
Okay, that's cool. So do you plan to go to the next Ignite?
I hope
sure.
to. This one, I had bought my ticket super early, was definitely going to come, and then with speaking, it changes everything, so you don't get to go to as many sessions.
Yeah.
So really, I'm going to be virtually attending a night and watching all the recordings and going through everything for the next week, at least. So it's almost like doing 2 Ignites, but I'm absolutely excited about next year because it's, nowadays, especially I'm lucky, I work across all technologies, right? Azure, Office 365. So that means that there's innovation and change happening across the board, and so it's really exciting. But even if you're just focused on one technology, it's just such a good opportunity to see what's kind of new and refreshed,
and to meet people speaking about
and
that.
To be honest, when else aside from like the May 4th event for SharePoint or other things, it's very rare that Microsoft does that. Peek behind the curtain. This is what we're thinking. This is our strategy. This is our direction. And a lot of those direction statements that they give here, you just can't do in a blog. You can't do in a quick statement like that. So I think for me, there's a lot of times where you kind of run and you do your thing, and you just want that confirmation or assurance that hey, I'm doing the right thing. I'm in line with what Microsoft's thinking or not, right? So
that's a good point, to be in line or outside the line.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you know, like when we talk about roadmap, are you making the right investments? Because either an individual skill set, right? Because everyone should be learning Azure, everyone should be learning, Office 365, or are you learning skill sets or are you spending energy on things that may not be relevant in 2 years, 3 years?
Okay, that's cool. So do you have any perspective or any project you want to share for the next year before the next Ignite?
So this Ignite, so last Ignite we shared whentousewhat.com as a white paper, and then we updated that.
Great white
Thank
paper.
you. So we updated that with Planner. We need to update it now with some of the groups integration stuff. But we also shared a bunch of other white papers. So I'm really excited. Ignite almost forced us because it gets busy, right?
Yeah.
Life gets busy. So it forced us to do a publishing push. So we took a bunch of white papers we had been building and just kind of finished them off. So we have a very long adoption white paper, 70 pages plus, that goes through this campaign and modeling and stuff like that. And I'm really excited about that. We have one on metrics and measurements, so ROI and stuff for Office 365, and that's Office 365 metrics. But what I'm really excited about is the resource kit. So right now, we've been trying to be diligent. So if we're gonna share something, we don't want to just share like a little ebook or whatever, right? For us, we want to be that everything you need to know kind of company when we put it together. So what we were looking at is the resources is kind of a way of packaging a bunch of these other customer templates and things like that. Yeah. So our hope is we can take a lot of the stuff we do with customers every day and just clean it up a little bit, remove customer reference specific stuff, and then we can actually share that in templates and samples and things like that in this resource kit. So right now it's got 5 different documents with a questionnaire and all this other stuff, but I'm really looking forward to, we have 40 that we want to put in there, but it's just a matter of working through the schedule. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about, kind of prepping and building out that, because by this time next year, hopefully, not only is Microsoft's story clearer, but the community resources and stuff have started being collated and collected a bit better. The tech community's website I'm a huge fan of. Have it public and everyone can kind of have these conversations and Q&A, and so maybe that's where I'll spend most of my time, and it won't be as much new stuff by the time I get to that next year.
Okay, that's cool, and maybe we will have the occasion to meet on several community events.
Exactly.
In Canada,
yes,
maybe.
Exactly. Right.
Who knows?
Between Montreal and Calgary and Toronto, absolutely, or in the U.S. As well. So I know worldwide tours and things like that for sure.
Okay.
I'd love to.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.